When you say, yeah, we're not ready, what are they not necessarily ready for? Because everyone's ready for technology. It's easy. It's cloud-based. You simply have a login, right? Like, it's not a lot to adopt. There's not a lot to implement. You need results, and you don't necessarily just need results today, but you need results tomorrow and 12 months from now and 24 months. How are you not ready for this? Anyone with a team should be ready for this. They need to develop their skills. AI 3 years ago wasn't a thing, and now it's probably one of the most talked about elements of every kind of job role, in every kind of interview up and down the country. When people say, oh, we're not ready for learning, we're not ready for development, because you're not necessarily saying no to the software. You're essentially saying no to your team and their needs moving forward. When we think about growth and scalability within our businesses, we think people. We need experts, we need to get all these people in place. And if you hire the right people, they can obviously take your business to new heights. But there is eventually a need to train the existing staff. And I think the viewpoint is we'll just hire somebody who has that skill set, or we will bring in new people. But actually there's a whole workforce there that potentially could be developed and improved and learn those new skills. But then, of course, you need to have a place to do that. And if you don't have that place to do that, that all of a sudden becomes quite a big challenge to be able to bring those new skills to that very large audience. So it is surprising that they're not in place, but it's not surprising because it happens a lot. So I guess a bit of a double-edged sword there.
And that's interesting to bring that up. I have found here at Scope Recruiting, we have a very great ongoing learning program. Trust me. What I have seen in previous companies that I have worked for is their LMSs are Stone Age. I would call them Stone Age. I mean, built on HTML or some old code, and it's very slow. It's not up to date. I think for you, I'm sure I would assume that a hurdle you have to overcome quite often is we already have an LMS in place, but a lot of it is probably an outdated system. How do you explain to companies how updating their LMS would affect them and get them a return on it?
There's around 1,800 LMSs out on the marketplace. And that's before you take into consideration all things like learning experience platforms and onboarding tools and digital adoption platforms, all these other kind of variants of learning. Having LMS itself isn't a silver bullet. Just because you have somewhere for people to go doesn't necessarily mean they're going to go there. So really, I think what you need to be able to do, and that flexibility you need to have around a learning platform, is that you need to have someone really driving it, someone who is a real kind of stakeholder and extremely passionate about helping people develop. You need to have people that genuinely believe there's people within the organization that can improve, can develop. I think unless you have that culture in place, it can be really quite difficult to have that learning culture, regardless of how good your LMS is, right? You could have the flashiest LMS in the world with all these features, but if you don't have someone driving it and you don't have a culture of growth and development, then I think you're fighting an uphill battle either way, to be honest.
Is there anything that you say in particular or have in mind when companies say we're not ready to adopt a new software, we're not ready to move into that, we're not certainly at the point yet?
It's so interesting because you can hear that one of two ways, right? Like you've got, say, 100 employees and you're telling me or someone else that you're looking to partner with in that learning front, when you say, yeah, we're not ready, what are they not necessarily ready for? Because everyone's ready for technology. It's easy. It's cloud-based. You simply have a login, right? Like it's not a lot to adopt. There's not a lot to implement. What you're really saying is you're not ready to commit finances or resources to developing your team. Now, if you're not committed to developing your team, what are you expecting from your team? You need results, and you don't necessarily just need results today, but you need results tomorrow and 12 months from now and 24 months. And unless you're willing to commit resources to your team, you're not setting them up for success. It always is an interesting kind of concept when somebody says, we're not ready for this. How are you not ready for this? Anyone with a team should be ready for this. They need to develop their skills. AI 3 years ago wasn't a thing, realistically. And now it's probably one of the most talked about elements of every kind of job role in every kind of interview up and down the country, right? Like it's happening. And if 3 years ago, everyone turned around and said, we're not ready for this, then those people are probably faltering now. But the people that turn around and said, yeah, no, we're super ready, we're really engaged, we're open to change, they're all probably flourishing right now. It's an interesting concept when people say, oh, we're not ready for learning, we're not ready for development, because you're not necessarily saying no to the software. You're essentially saying no to your team and their needs moving forward.